Hi, folks. Welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode number 483.
Oh, wow.
I'm your host, Dr. Mac Jackson Jr. Join us for a thrilling ride, talking about cybersecurity tips and techniques you use to protect your family, your business from the fastest growing crimes of the 21st century. And my guest today is my co-host. Yes, my co-host today, Sonia Pedowick. How you doing, Sonia? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Hey, before we get started, tell our folks here, you've been my co-host for years now. Tell us about this new venture that you're doing.
I always have so many different things going on. But
yes, you do.
With Catalyst?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. So, with Catalyst right now, we have our mastermind group right now has a couple of things going on. Our women's group is growing. And next week out at Lake Las Vegas with a partnership with Lisa Chastain, we have Take the Lead. So there's a few more seats available. So if there's any women out there that are looking for a peer-to-peer group and want to join us at this amazing one-day conference with some incredible speakers, including Lisa Chastain, hit me up and connect with me through Mac's show at catalyst.vegas. That would be awesome. And then our incubator group, we're going to start building our fourth cohort for startup business groups in April of next year. And I'm obviously always looking for businesses that want to be in the mastermind setting. But this is a one-year program for startup groups, for startup businesses. So those businesses that want to really launch, scale, build, that are in that startup phase, that want to just really surround themselves with other business owners and just haven't been able to really get off the ground the way that they wanted to and need those foundational tools to do that.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. All right. Good here. And again, I wish you guys the best of luck on that and everything. And you always adventurous and entrepreneurial over the years, always doing things. So today, Sonia, we have a really interesting show to talk about today. Let's start by our first subject matter. Let's talk about here in our local town of Las Vegas. We've had another cyber attack, and it's had to do with Boyd Gaming.
Yeah. That's interesting too, because I'm sure we'll get to it, but I'll let you take the lead. But it just seems like if these casinos and big operators aren't really paying attention, that they're just going up and down the strip, right?
Right. And from my gathering, I'm hearing that there's a group of young folks that are doing behind this. So there's a gang of, it's like that group called Scattered Spider and others and alike, that they are being funded by nation states, but they're young kids that spend time playing online video games, and they're using their powers for the evil, right? Going down a list of casinos here in our town and hacking them.
Yeah. And they obviously know that there's vulnerabilities and they're figuring it out through social engineering or whatever they're doing. They're kind of paying attention to what's happening both globally and economically. They could tell that the casinos are impacted economically. They can see what's happening from a layoff perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They're not dumb. They're figuring it out. They're getting in. And I don't know, part of me wonders too if the casinos aren't thinking, gosh, if they got my neighbor, they're going to get us. Why aren't they talking and sharing and figuring out how did they get in? Are they taking cybersecurity threats seriously enough where they're talking to their staff? Are they doing enough education?
It's all the above. I talked about this in my dissertation from my doctoral degree on this, on casinos and how they're protecting guest data. And again, it goes back to transfer of risk, right? Yeah. So they're relying on their cyber insurance policies. And it's such a small expense to pay, but in the bigger scheme, as far as the guest's concerned, it's a big hassle, right? To have your room keys not work and to be locked out of areas of the casino. That could be, right now Vegas is already getting that the discussion of that the tourism is going down here in Vegas
Yeah.
tourism's going down due to, they're saying, because of tariffs and other things that
Yeah.
are affecting it as
Well,
well.
travel risk and
Yeah, travel risk, and now this whole thing with the hacking, it's adding extra stress on tourists coming to our town. So yeah, there definitely has to be more the casinos need to do about this, and hopefully they'll start to listen to people in our industry and cybersecurity about more training, because that's what it boils down to. It's a human factor, and we'll talk about that later in the show as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Event a human factor.
Yeah, and I was talking to one of my other clients. It's a fairly large enterprise account here in town, and they have just made it like they've kind of made it. They've gamified it and they've rewarded it. And so every quarter, every month, they award people for not allowing piggybacking, not opening certain emails, and they've made it part of their culture that these cyber little games that they play within the organization is highlighted. And so they give out at these all hand meetings that they have on not only a quarterly, but a monthly basis. They'll be like, hey, Mac was super being recognized for pristine record and not letting somebody piggyback in the front door, like making sure that everybody that comes in, not holding the door open, and making sure that everybody badges in and badges out every time. And they didn't open. We sent 22 phishing emails out last month, and this person didn't open it, didn't click on a single one of them. And I thought it was just really interesting in talking to this team that they've just made it part of their culture to like gamify it in a way, but then reward and give employee recognition out to those who win at protecting the company.
Yeah, that's a great idea. When I work with the cybersecurity group for FEMA and Homeland Security in Houston, Texas, we talk about these things as well.
Yeah.
And gamification is a really good aspect of it. But you said a couple things too, and you said the word culture.
Yeah.
That's the new thing now that we really need to make sure all the employees have
Yeah.
at home as well as work, is a whole cyber culture where they can understand their roles and responsibilities for this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're doing this gamification. Now management needs to look at, okay, now we've got our group working on gamification. What else can we do?
Yeah.
What's our next step? Our next what if scenarios. Look at the what if scenarios of this, and not just feed it gamifications or this new thing and sit back and say, okay, good, we've done something. We always have to continue to develop new training processes one step ahead of these bad guys, because they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We talk about that in our training with FEMA, that as we are having our training with the good guys, showing them drills and what's happening in the real world, the hackers are doing their underground meetings just like we're doing, and they're talking about vulnerabilities, and they're doing exercises as well, and testing, and they're putting their guys through it. It's like let's just bring it where America can understand it. It's like a football game, right? You have offense and defense people. They're wanting to know the plans of the other side all the time.
Yeah,
and
they're watching film every time.
Yeah, we tell our clients that the most important document in an organization is that incident response plan. Hackers can hack into an organization and grab that incident response plan. Now they know how they're going to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Who they're going to call, their policies when it comes to cyber security insurance and alike. And we have to stay one step ahead.
Yeah.
So with that said, over in the UK and around the world, the other countries, things they're doing to protect their citizenry from identity theft or data breaches, they're thinking about coming up with a so-called, you may have seen this before as well, ID cards, but a digital ID card. So there's the politicians in our country talking about having a real ID, voter ID card. Over in the UK, they're talking about having a digital ID card that will encompass a voter ID plus transactional ID. It will be your social security number, everything built in on your digital wallet. Does that mean that everybody has to have a digital wallet? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's so interesting to think about that. So it's like an app-based representation of your ID. So you'd have to have a phone.
Well, I have a video here from a presentation from one of the news sources there that talks about their digital ID and how it works in their country. Let's play that video, John, and see, and then we'll react to that, Sonia and I, afterwards.
Okay.
Almost a decade and a half after the idea was scrapped, it seems that Keir Starmer is attempting to revive a policy of the Blair-era government in order to nominally deal with immigration. Rumours have started to swirl in the last couple of weeks that Starmer is on the cusp of introducing a new compulsory digital ID scheme, a development on Tony Blair's national ID scheme originally pitched in 2005. So in this video, we're going to explain exactly what the digital ID proposal is, the pros and cons of such a scheme, what the public think about it, and whether ultimately Starmer will succeed where Blair failed. Dive deeper into politics with our magazine Too Long. Yeah, we make a real physical magazine. In the latest issue, we discuss if Starmer just has no vision for Britain, if Farage could become Prime Minister, and ask if we're observing the end of the American order. Find out more by clicking the link in the description. Now, let's start by explaining exactly what a national ID scheme is. Essentially, the idea is that citizens are provided with ID cards by the state. Some proposals have these cards as voluntary, and others have them as compulsory. Such cards could be used to prove an individual's identity to law enforcement, to provide easier or more convenient access to public services, to help protect people against identity fraud, and to try and help crack down on unauthorized migration, something we'll get onto a bit later. Now, there are plenty of European countries that already have national ID schemes. Romania, for instance, requires all citizens above the age of 14 to have a national ID card. In Serbia, it's mandatory for anyone over 16. In Slovakia, it's mandatory for anyone over 15. And since even 2005, in Belgium, citizens over the age of 15 are expected to have an electronic eID. Here in the UK, we've had a somewhat varied history with national ID. It was first introduced in the First World War in order to help authorities manage conscription, and was then reintroduced in 1939 to help with national service, national security, and food rationing. National ID was, however, abolished in 1952 after it was criticised for being used for more general purposes, for example, with law enforcement, and opponents argued that this wasn't compatible with civil liberties. The policy re-entered the national conversation in the early 2000s, when Tony Blair proposed a new voluntary entitlement card. Now, it's important to note just how extensive this proposal was. It suggested that the state would hold information on every British citizen, including everywhere they've lived, their NHS and national insurance numbers, even biometric data such as digitally encoded fingerprints. It was argued that this would make the system less susceptible to forgery and make the British scheme a gold standard for identity cards. The plan was for all facets of the state, from police stations to social security offices, to use these cards to verify someone's identity. And the legislation was proposed in a way that allowed the government to, in the future, make such a card mandatory. While legislation for this did make its way through Parliament, it was ultimately scrapped by the Conservative Liberal Democrat government in 2010, as both parties opposed it. The Conservatives argued that it was too costly and would be ineffectual, whereas the Lib Dems argued that it was unnecessary. However, in the past couple of weeks, we've seen Starmer's Labour government come around to the idea, with the Times reporting that it could be announced today, and the FT claiming that it might happen at Labour's conference next week. Now, there are a couple of reasons why Starmer might want to be introducing this now. Firstly, the Tony Blair Institute has been pushing the idea of digital national ID for years, arguing essentially that it allows citizens to interact more efficiently and effectively with government services. Secondly, though, Starmer could be in favour of it because it could assist in reducing the number of unauthorised migrants in the UK. As things stand, employers and landlords have a duty to ensure that they're not employing or renting to an unauthorised migrant. Failure to carry out these checks can carry large fines. Employers can be fined £45,000 per illegal worker, and landlords can be fined up to £1,000 for a first breach. However, widespread checks are not carried out, and according to Home Office data, between 2018 and 2023, only 5,000 civil penalties have been handed out to employers, and 320 civil penalties have been handed out to landlords. Essentially then, it's quite likely that in most cases, those that criminally employ or rent to unauthorised migrants will not be caught, creating a market for those profiting from providing this kind of employment and housing. And to some migrants, this can act as a pull factor, and this is where the digital ID scheme comes in. One of the main advantages of having a widespread national digital ID is that the Home Office can keep a record of all housing and employment checks in a centralized database and check this against pay-as-you-earn or PAYE records and the newly established National Landlord Database. And as a result, the likelihood of employers or landlords being caught would increase. Now, as things stand, we don't exactly know what the digital ID scheme would look like. The FD still reports that the finer details are being worked out. However, it seems likely that any new digital ID scheme would include a system which would allow checks on individuals' right to work or housing. There's already some opposition to such a proposal, though. Rebecca Vincent of Big Brother Watch explained that we are sleepwalking into a dystopian nightmare where the entire population we force through myriad digital checkpoints to go about our everyday lives. On top of this, Abhinaya Murthy, also of Big Brother Watch, wrote an article highlighting the concerns regarding data breaches. In the last few years, she points out, there have been 11 major data breaches in the public sector. As a result of this, Murthy explained that it's not a question of if a data breach occurs, but when. Other critics, such as Conservative Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick, claim that digital ID won't prevent unauthorized migrants from getting housing or employment. Specifically, he points out that most employers who are employing individuals illegally are doing so knowingly. Asking them to check ID cards rather than the current checks that they're already obligated to do is not going to make a blind bit of difference to illegal migration. So while the government seems to think this could reduce unauthorized migration, there are those that are skeptical. But what does the public think? Well, already, a petition against the proposal has gained more than 115,000 signatures online, enough to trigger a debate in Parliament. However, specific polling demonstrates that people are generally less opposed. Polling from YouGov in June found that 57% of people support the idea and only 24% oppose it. Similarly, Ipsos polling from September demonstrates that a whopping 57% of people support the idea and only 19% oppose. In fact, when asked why they support digital ID, 40% of respondents cited the fact that it could be used to prevent illegal immigration. Perhaps then, with so little opposition from the public, this is a proposal that Starmer will push ahead with.
Wow. Well,
yeah,
that's the UK. I caught a couple things from that conversation. He mentioned that the digital ID would give the UK government and the citizenry efficiency and effectiveness with government services. That's kind of interesting. Centralized database, right, of all information. Now, this is really interesting and how it really affects us here in the U.S. Digital checkpoints. Don't we have issues right now going on with so-called governmental agencies like ICE wanting to check people for their passports? Now they can have this digital ID. Now they can scan with the QR code to see if that person is a citizen or not.
Well, if you just take immigration out of the topic, okay, let's just take immigration out because that's such a volatile part of it, right? Because that whole thing was centered around immigration. Let's just take that out of it. If you just take the point of immigration out of it and you're just talking just your U.S. citizen, your housing, your banking, your identification, your fingerprints.
Yep.
Did it talk about medical?
Yes. Medical was there as well.
So you're like me as just a U.S. citizen. I'm putting all my data. And then would I also be then required to then checkpoint myself throughout the country to travel? Sure. Like that, if you just take immigration out, because that's such a hot topic right now. And like
it is.
And what country and this and that. If we were to take immigration out of it, why is it necessary?
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right, John. It's like one card instead of many. It would encompasses every card that you would have. Now, with that digital card, why we need to have Visa, MasterCard, American Express now? Because now people are getting used to QR codes, scanning with it, NFC, using a phone to tap to pay, all of that. Now that digital ID card can handle everything. And it's something that we definitely should be concerned with. But again, it's so slow process, all right? Give us a little bit of these benefits.
So is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
Well, it's a good thing that we should analyze. We always should look at it. It can be a bad thing if it goes off the rail and everything that you do is being tracked from when you wake up in the morning and when you drive your car. Your GPS monitor you as well. When you go to work, Now you have the scanning ID, you get pulled over, scan your ID. Oh, wow, you forgot to pay such and such a bill, or you forgot to do this, that, and the other. All that could be now monitored.
Yeah, and can you be denied access to or given access to because of certain things? So if my healthcare is now tied to all of my whatever, I'm just playing devil's advocate, right?
Well, yeah, there's an actual Netflix episode of Black Mirror, if you get a chance to ever watch that. One of the first ones that came out. It's like the modern version of the Twilight Zone. And they talked about having a digital personality, right?
Right.
So if you were mean to people throughout the day, your points would go down, your social points would go down. And if you were nice to people, your points would go up. So when you go into a restaurant to eat, they'd scan your phone. And of course, if you've been nice to people throughout the week, you have a nice place to sit in the restaurant.
Right.
If you were mean towards people, you would sit in a bad seat. But that could be if your credit score is low too, right? Now you're going to sit
or if your health is good or your health is bad. And then at what age do you get this? Because we've talked about this on previous shows. I'm probably one of very few parents where my kids didn't get phones until they were much later into their teenage years, 16, almost 17 years old. So are you required to then give your kids access to technology or a phone sooner because as soon as they drive, they have to have this now? Or, and then when do you, what if you don't want to have a phone, right? And then you're out of the social construct because you're like, I don't want to have phone, then I don't have access to this.
It's going to be, if you don't have a phone, then you will be denied the services. Like
because
right now.
I also know people who have like aging parents who they go into, Alzheimer's or memory care or, end of life care. They don't necessarily have access to a phone anymore because they don't know how to use it or whatever. Where does their digital identity fit?
It's happening now. There's certain healthcare services here in Las Vegas that will no longer take cash when you go in for medical care. And that's why this digital ID card is a concern. It's something we should be concerned about. And they're thinking it's a great thing. They're saying, hey, we no longer take cash anymore. You must have a debit or credit card in order to have services here. Now, think about that. It used to be cash is king. Cash became from king to a prince. Now it's a jester.
Right.
I don't even think about him anymore. I went to a coffee shop to buy a cup of coffee, and I brought my $10 bill to pay for the coffee, and they said, we no longer take cash here.
Right.
It's going to be that sort of thing when it comes to this digital ID card, saying that, hey, you want to dine
in any sporting arena now, nobody takes cash anymore, right?
Right. Even sport arenas, they don't take cash anymore. It's slowly being taken out because now if it's digitized, it's put in, like it said in the UK, a centralized database. And of course, there's a thing called, data mining and data management, where all this data could be consolidated and analyzed,
right,
sold to.
So then in the instance of like Boyd, MGM, Caesars, where they are fiduciarily responsible, right, for the breach and the maintaining of that data, right? And when something happens, I, as the consumer, could sue or be like, hey, you were responsible for protecting my data, right? I signed up for your rewards card, or I came and purchased something. Now you're responsible. So now who is then responsible for this digital ID? The government?
That could be the government, but again, it could be in a sense when, you heard the EULAs, right?
No.
Or EULA is a contract that mostly everybody doesn't pay attention to when you purchase an app on your phone, and you agree to it. No one reads that contractual information. And then it's print that says that they're not responsible for it. You're now
who is in the scheme of the UK? Who's taking responsibility for that data?
Well, it will start with the government. The government will, but again, the government will take limited responsibility for it. Obviously, limited. Like in our country too, it's hard to sue the federal government or sue the government for anything as well. So it's. Those are questions that we should come up with. But I tell you what, there's another video. let's take a look at what the government of the UK thinks about it. So now we've seen what the digital ID card, what it looks like. Let's take a look at what the Prime Minister thinks.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, they want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes. Mark Carney, who stormed to victory. For too many years, it's been too easy for people to come here, slip into the shadow economy, and remain here illegally. Because, frankly, we've been squeamish about saying things that are clearly true. It's not just that it's not compassionate left-wing politics to rely on labour that exploits foreign workers and undercuts fair wages, but the simple fact that every nation needs to have control over its borders. We do need to know who is in our country. Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust, undermines people's faith that we're on their side, and their belief that the state can and will work for them. That puts paid to a story we often hear in the press these days.
So you're either in or you're out.
Yeah, he said right to work. Think about that. That pass comes here.
Like an immigration problem, not a security. It's like, it's so interesting to me. I really have to like wrap my head around this.
They're using that as an excuse, the immigration issue, because everybody could understand that, or they're.
Well, there's a fear around it. So there's a call to action because there's a fear around it.
Yes. And because of that fear, let's grab it all. Let's take away the privacy rights. He said right to work. That means you won't be able to work in the UK without a digital ID. Think about that. That's horrendous. So what basically they're saying, that whole underground labor market, right? The under the table type of work will be eliminated, because you won't be able to spend cash anymore. So now someone works for you. You can't pay them cash under the table. They have to be paid digital ID. Therefore, the IRS and all that, all those government agencies for taxes are involved in it as well.
I don't think it's sustainable. I don't know. I really have to like think about this more.
Yeah. I don't think it is either. But I think it's something that we are talking about it now.
It has to be managed, monitored, and secured by somebody. We're in a government shutdown right now, for God's sakes. So what happens when the government can't function properly? If somebody has to manage this, who's managing a real ID? Who's managing electronic digital ID?
You know who's going to manage it? Remember, governments don't create anything. It's the brother from the other mother. It's big business.
Right.
So the company at the top, the ones who creating the actual digital ID systems, those are the companies that will manage all this. And like John was saying here, yeah, they could be hacked. And
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and if they're hacked, or even and when I say hacked, they could be hacked by actually monitoring someone else watching what's going on, or watchers.
It just like brings back trauma from like government bailouts of like when the mortgage industry failed, and I don't know. I don't know. I got to think about this a little bit more.
That's good. And
I
that's
need to
what hope our
process
audience
it
do too.
because it doesn't feel like a fail state. There's got to be like more thinking. Someone smarter than me has to really, because it, like right now, I own my identity. I own my credit history. I own my medical records. And I'm not dumb enough to know that I share a lot of that information with other people, right? Like people have access to that, right? Like I'm under no false pretense that every single thing that I own is completely secure, right?
Right.
Something somewhere, I think I just got something from a dental company locally, maybe 10 years ago, that I saw that they had a breach, right? So I'm sure my dental records from that company, coupled with some financial something, was breached from 10 years ago. Got it. I get it. But I still own that, and I can change my passwords, and I can take steps to mitigate my own risk and my own protection of my stuff. But if I'm then cobbling that all together into one thing and then saying, here, I'm trusting you to then harbor it all and protect it all, I don't know that I like that.
Right. But you're kind of doing that now. With anything that you have out there digitally, you are entrusting the companies to maintain it and protect it.
But it's disparate.
As far as for how you see it, it's disparate. But I'm saying, as far as a hacking world could see it, let's think of the endpoints, Sonia. Endpoints A, B, C, D of all your data that's out there, right? Totally separate, different passwords and everything.
Right.
What commonality of, let's just say 4 points of Sonia Pedowick out there. The commonality you have for all those different 4 points would be your social security number and your facial recognition.
100%.
Hackers will take that information and they can create another database without even knowing it. You know about it, that has your data there, that's monitoring you and watching you, or doing data mining of your transactions. That's what we're talking about here. So it's happening now.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is that we're relying, what you're saying, Sonia, and a lot of people are saying, is that we need to educate and keep our voters aware of what's going on, because we're relying on two forces, very, very powerful forces that are out there. One is the government, and the other one are big businesses that have your data.
Right.
And that's what we need to be, concerned with: big businesses having our data, and the government giving the big business the power to mandate that we give our data over to this big business. That is the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. I need more information, but I don't think digital ID is the way to go.
Oh, I don't either. I don't either. I don't think digital ID is the way to go at all. And the whole voter ID card is one step towards that. Yes, we need a way to the whole voter ID card, but the best way would be to digitize it versus having an ID card, because these things could be faked. They could be duplicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really been interesting to see how
with like what is it? Deep fake?
Yes, the deep fake videos.
Right. Like people could just recreate who I am, and
yes, yes, deep fake videos can recreate who you are, and with your voice as well. And then next thing you know,
interesting,
your identity's been taken. So one of the things that we've talked about over the years and is our event that we're coming up. Let's talk about that. This event that we have coming up.
Like I feel a little uneducated about the real or digital ID.
Yes, we will talk about that too.
Is key.
Yes, we will talk about that too, because they're saying right now, even traveling and we'll talk about that in our event as well. When you travel, you must have a digital ID. I have TSA when I travel now, but to get to TSA, you had to go through all these different jump points to give over your personal information, to have it stored where? And the federal, at a governmental level, TSA. So they'll know that, okay, you're a good person, you're okay, safe to travel. So you don't have to take off your shoes and all that kind of stuff we do at the airport, slowing us down. Well, As you can see now, with this digital ID, now you'll be able just to go beep, show your digital ID, and go past all that, right?
Right.
Yeah, so those are the things that we need to make our citizenry aware of. So that's why we're doing our event that I've called it Hacking the Human, meaning that, Sonia, we've talked before that you worked with hundreds of employees in the casino industry and IT industry. And these companies that you've worked with as well, they've spent millions of dollars on the best hardware and software out there.
Yeah.
All it takes is just one person to bring down the house of cards. And that's what happened with Caesars, MGM, and possibly even with Boyd as well.
Right.
And there's rumors that there's another hack attack has happened, but there's still some, we're still researching that to determine what's going on with that one. There's another one there that's been talked about as well. But all of these goes back to the human factor. You mentioned the culture of cybersecurity. How do we teach it more than just training and education?
Right.
How do we make it a part of our everyday life? Our event that we have set up for October 25th, which is about 3 weeks away, I will talk to parents, and you helped me put this together here over the last year or so. You and I have talked about this. You asked me a question a year ago about, hey, how concerned are parents about having their kids exposed to cyberbullying and sextortion, right? And what I've done is I've talked to investigators dealing with this type of crime and having an investigator at our event on the 25th talking about their experiences and what they have done to help parents look for signs that their kids are exhibiting when it comes to these types of attacks. So that's one area. The third area, second area are small businesses, obviously. We're talking about them like we've done all the time. But then the third area would be our seniors, our parents, the elderly. I've had people come up to me and talk all the time about these crypto scams that they've been involved with, romance scams, and how they've been extorted and exploited for money and what they can do. So I'll have a speaker there who's 85 years old. He has his own business, and he has for decades, I could say, for decades, talked about identity theft with seniors. And he will be there to talk about his programs and what he has done to help seniors as well. So we have a lot to cover here, but what this is a launch of a series of events that we'll have in the future on education of the public about cybersecurity and how they can protect themselves, and also veterans as well too. So we're going to get the veterans in there and how they can help them as well, how we can help them as also.
Yeah, because what I think people don't, with our friend Lisa, she always says, you know what you know what you don't know, but you don't know what you don't know. And I think events like this really bring to awareness what people don't know. And our kids, are getting smarter and smarter and more technically savvy, and sometimes surpassing us when it comes to some of our technology. And, they have these devices, they're practically born with them, right, in their hands. And, they're finding ways to connect with people, connect through school, and circumvent some of the securities we think we're putting on to our devices, right? And I think I'm ahead of my kids when it comes to some of these things. And I use my managed service provider to put extra layers and on devices that I have, and I think I have things pretty locked down. And I think I also have a pretty open dialogue with my kids about certain things. And yet things still happen. We cannot be naive to think that we know what's going on, not only with our kids, but with the kids that our kids travel with. And that I've watched a couple documentaries. I travel in some parent groups online, and it's really sad what's happening and how these kids get infiltrated by these little Instagram messages, notes on Discord, where, they're lured into these conversations, and then sextortion. I didn't even know sextortion existed until 6 months ago. And, and I'm in IT, and I travel and have these conversations with my kids, but to hear that, a kid is tricked into sharing an image about themselves or sharing a private moment or a private detail about themselves and then extorted through what they're calling it sextortion. And then they're committing suicide over it because they don't want this secret shared in their private life. They think their parents are going to be embarrassed if they're of a religious family or a close-knit community, that something's going to be shared. And they're saying that it's rapidly growing, that these kids are killing themselves over this, over $1,000 extortion, $100 here. And there's a famous case where these Nigerian brothers were brought to trial over this poor boy's, suicide over this. And parents really have an opportunity, if anything, to just pay attention and learn what could be happening. And then on the flip side, our seniors who didn't grow up in the era of technology and are getting exposed and thinking, oh, I can save money. The purse strings are tightening. The economy is changing. And people are very persuasive and they're being, called upon to potentially save money or do this. And I watched another documentary on these romance scams. I didn't even know these things are happening. And it's
absolutely.
We're so busy in our lives that if we could just get a little bit of education to even know what to look for, what to ask for, like how much more protection could we just bring it home? And the final point is, we were thrust into these virtual roles, these hybrid work scenarios where we're at home. So our work and home internet networks are called. And so, what I do maybe on my home device could be commingled with a home network, work network. There's just little things that you can do to separate those. Like, it cannot hurt you to come to an event where you could learn just a little thing that could save something. I liken it to a speaker I heard years ago in a business course where, this accounting person said to a group of 10 or 12 people that in your accounting business, it's always the accountant who never takes a vacation, who doesn't let you cross train. You every year you should tell your bookkeeper or accountant to take a vacation, because if they don't, that's probably they're stealing. And one member out of 10 went back and said, hey, bookkeeper, you should take a vacation. And he found out that bookkeeper had taken almost $75,000 from his business.
Yep.
So if you could save yourself money, income, revenue in your business, money from your home or the life of a loved one for a 2-3 hour webinar, like, why wouldn't you do that? And so it's just being in the conversation of what's going on online, what's happening, where you might have something, you spread it to someone you love, and then we all just become more educated through what's going on, that we could protect each other. I just believe in being curious in this space. I believe in talking about it. So I love the idea of Hack the Human. I love the idea of bringing a community together and just spending time and curiosity and knowledge. So I'm all for it, because I just hate to see people being taken advantage of when things can be avoided.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to your point, do you know that hackers are also going after the children of C-level employees? So you can hack the child and either blackmail the child, to force him to give you information about their parents who's at a C-level. Maybe they're a CFO of a corporation. And that gets you past the firewall that the MSPs have already set up. Yeah. Now the adult has no idea, but that they were gotten this information because of social engineering through their children.
Yeah.
So this event is really interesting. So let's talk about the location of it. It's going to be located this time at the West Charleston Library. That's West Charleston Library here in Las Vegas, between West Charleston and Torrey Pines. On West Charleston, cross streets of Torrey Pines, the West Charleston Library, and 10 a.m.
Yep.
And we will be there. Sonia will be there. Sonia will be the MC for us as well. Yeah, and we're going to have. I think it's going to be a really good turnout. But again, it's a start. So I'm looking to book the next one 3 months from now. Every 3 months, we're going to have an event. Now, our next event, after the one on the 25th, we may focus on one particular group.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the parents, and we'll do this maybe 4 hours versus the 3 this time, a little bit longer. But this time we'll be able to focus on a group, and the next time we'll do small businesses, and after that we'll do the seniors and continue bringing aspects of it. I will also have online access to this event as well on the 25th. So those who cannot attend, they'll be able to be provided a link. They can go to my website, and that's at vandersoncybergroup.com. That's vandersoncybergroup.com, or my website at macjacksonjr.com. It's macjacksonjr.com, and they'll can sign up and register for the event. Seats are limited right now for this particular event, but hopefully we're going to open up that auditorium and have a huge event set up there.
Yeah.
And bring in the public about this. This is something we need to tell everybody about. So if you have friends or family out there, definitely let them know. Let's put it all on the social media and let people know about it.
So right now, people can find you on Eventbrite under Hack the Human, and Facebook under Hack the Human.
Sure. Yes. You go to Eventbrite, Hack the Human, or my name, you'll be able to find it there. Or just again, go to my website. I have it there. There's a calendar countdown link, and click the link. It takes you right to the Eventbrite, where they can actually register for it, and also register. The event will be a live stream as well, so we'll be live streaming it.
Are you still looking to have the students there to help with the seniors with their phones?
That's right, which is a great blessing too for that. Yes, there is let's mention school.
The West Tech School.
There we go. Yes, the West Tech School, and yes, definitely we'll have some of their students there as well to help with the seniors. Now, that whole process with senior citizens, I would like to have the seniors and elderly bring their devices, their smartphones. And what we will do is we'll talk to them about certain setups they should have on their phone to give them an extra layer of protection. Because your phones, they don't come when you buy from your ISP set up for you to give you the maximum amount of security and protections. I have some documents that I will be able to give to the attendees. So when they will walk away from our event, they will have something to take back home for them. And also I'm introducing a new process called a ta-da moment. Ta-da moment. And during the process of the training, everyone will write down a ta-da moment. And aha, this is what I wanted to do. And they'll write it down. And these aha moments, they will be able to take back home, take back to their offices, and implement right away.
Nice.
So this will be a start of it. So I'm really excited about it. I think this is going to be a really good event. We need to be able to take our security and our privacy in our own control here, Sonia, and that's basically why I'm wanting to do this. And making a change in our community here for Las Vegas. And you and I think big numbers here, especially listening to, I'll give Lisa a little shout out here. We think big, and I want to take this to Phoenix and San Diego as well. Have you come with me, and we're going to spread this message as far as deep as we can when it comes to hacking human and supporting cybersecurity awareness. Wow, I'm really excited about it. So let's one more time. Let's go through the time again. It is October 25th at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the West Charleston Library on October 25th. Sounds great. All right, Sonia. Well, again, I want to thank you for joining me today, and let's definitely spread the word, and we'll take this particular video and we're going to share it in all of our social medias and let people know about it as well. And I want to thank you for joining us today, Sonia, and look forward to speaking with you again.